How important was the mental side of your game in your golf journey? And have you had struggles over time? Has it evolved over time?
Yeah, I mean, the mental side of golf, a lot of people don't realize, but it's really tough. It's a game that you want to quit half the time you go out and play, and the toughest players are the ones who survive and shoot the lowest scores. And I kind of started realizing how important it was in high school, but I still gotten slumps where I quit believing in myself. I'd hit some bad shots and just want to go to the range and work on it and be done playing. But the more that I was around really good players and really tough players, and I had a great coach at college, Coach Small, who kind of instilled in me how important the mental side was to be mentally tougher than anyone else. And if you're the mentally toughest person at your tournament, obviously physical wise, things are going to go wrong. You're not going to hit perfect shots like you want to every time, but it's how you get over it. It's how you overcome adversity on the golf course. And I kind of bought into that. I met with Bob Rotella a couple times, and I just tried to pick apart the brains of really good players and psychologists like him, and learn as much as I could. And I'm still working. I'm definitely not near perfect. I feel like every time I go out to a tournament, I learn more and more. And I just have something written down with my goals about how I want to be. I want to be kind of relentless out on the golf course. I want to be totally committed and totally confident over every shot. And I'd say I probably go out in a tournament and I'm probably 80% of the time I'm confident. And I'd say the best players in the world are 90, 95, and when they're playing their best, close to 100. And so that's obviously something I need to work on. And a lot of younger kids, I would just say, golf is a game of your next shot. And regardless of what happened before, how you hit your tee shot, if you hit 3 hooks in a row, don't go trying to fix your hook and worrying about your swing and trying to hit it out to the right to avoid hooking it. Just go and see your target and believe in yourself that you're going to hit it at your target. And that's the best advice that I could give to you.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I struggled with it a little bit. Not so much not believing in myself, but kind of my actions out on the course. Sometimes I got mad, and it wasn't just because I didn't believe in myself. Sometimes I thought like my playing partners or college coaches or my coach. I just wanted to show them that I wasn't really like that bad or something like that. And so I kind of grew up and realized that obviously that's not the way you want to handle yourself out on the golf course, because you never know who's watching. There could be college coaches out there watching you, or they could be other coaches out there, and they kind of base, if they've seen you hit one shot and you do something bad, you hit a tee mark or something like that, they walk away. They base their whole view of you on just that one shot, one time. They didn't even talk to you, and they kind of feel like they think you're kind of a hothead or whatever you want to call it. But you just never know who's watching, and I think that was one of the most important things that I got taught when I was growing up. And I did it. I learned my lesson in college. I had my coach walking with me, and I remember it plain as day. I hit the ball, and I hit it to the right, and I ended up smacking the tee marker, and it was metal, so it made a lot of noise. And my coach was not very happy, to say the least, and he ended up yelling at me pretty bad. And I kind of learned my lesson to never do that again, because that's just showing you that there's signs of weakness in you, and that's just not something that you want to display to other people. So that's something that I've learned up and grown up a ton, and playing out my rest of my college career, and this past summer on some professional tour events, you just see guys handle themselves. They might get mad, but they handle themselves very well, and you rarely see something like that happen. And it's just kind of cool to grow up, and maybe you don't realize it at a young age that that affects how others may view you. But as you grow up, you can see that for sure.
So I'm curious if you guys have been exposed to like monitoring your self-talk, and then if it's negative, if you have any tips or practices, processes, things that you go through to change your self-talk as you're playing or even beforehand.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've had negative self-talk plenty of times. I would say it's almost more in practice than it is playing. And I've had my coach around, and he can just see how hard I am on myself, and I just want to keep hitting balls and keep being perfect. And the more I rush, the worse I hit, and the more negative I get. And he'll tell me to go take a break. Don't hit anymore. And then he'll tell me, to go home that night, look yourself in the mirror, or go into a dark spot and talk to yourself and tell yourself, that you're in control of how you think, you're in control of, how you feel, all of that. And he'll tell me to believe in myself, to picture great things to come, to picture me holding up trophies, to picture, me having success. And I can tell you one thing is that you're a lot better off doing that, as weird as that sounds. You're a lot better off doing that and reaching your dreams, than just to continue negative self-talk. And we all fall victim to it, and it's really tough to get out of. But the more you can turn it around into positive stuff, and believe in yourself, and start seeing success, start seeing yourself lifting up trophies, the better it's going to get. And I can remember I was playing some terrible golf in February this year, and I was picked to go down to try a qualifier for a PGA tournament. And Coach Small was playing with me and in some practice rounds, and he was beating me by 5 shots. And I talked to myself that night before the qualifier. My game was very rusty, and I was just going to tell myself that I didn't care how I hit it. I didn't care how I felt about my game. I was just going to go out there and I was going to win the qualifier. And whether I did win or whether I didn't win, that's not really important. But the fact that I was able to turn that around and to have him there to tell me that stuff, I ended up winning the qualifier. And that never would have happened if I didn't talk to myself that night. I can guarantee that.
I think that's great.
Younger players maybe don't always buy into like the visualization part of things. They think that practice is how things are going to get better. Do you guys use any visualization techniques that you could share with younger players or even older players too, I guess?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I was pretty fascinated with kind of how Jason Day really burst on the scene as probably obviously the best golfer. He's been playing some of the best golf anybody's ever seen in the world this past year or so. And one of the things that I noticed when he was playing was kind of his visualization kind of before a shot. And I think that's big. One of the things that I've kind of looked into what he does is he does a lot of meditating. And a lot of times, like I've read a couple articles, kind of what he does, but a lot of times when he either wakes up or when he's going to bed, he'll spend 5-10 minutes just kind of laying in bed or sitting up and just visualizing what he wants to see and trying to just quiet his mind from everything else in the world, what may happen if you had a rough day on the course or whatever. Just try to visualize that everything's calm and kind of just throw everything aside and just make sure you have a clear mind. And that's kind of when you're able to, when your mind works the best, obviously, and you're able to take stuff from past experiences that you've maybe thought of, that you're in the correct state of mind, you're really focused, you can take that stuff and hone it in and really easily remember that kind of stuff and hopefully do that for several nights in a row, and you can really see a change in kind of how you see yourself out on the practice green, how you see yourself out on the course.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. Like long-term visualization, short-term, but also you see Jason, before he hits a golf shot, he's very deliberate in his routine, and he'll sit back and close his eyes and picture that golf shot how he wants it, and he will not go hit that shot until he totally sees it in his mind and believes that he can hit it. And it's not always going to work. You see him hit bad shots, but more times than not, that'll save you a couple shots if you stick with it through an entire round and not go up and hit that shot until you completely see it in your mind.